Everybody and welcome councillors, Chief Executive Officer, General Managers, our executive staff, those that are in the gallery here today and those that are watching via live stream to this ordinary meeting of Council for April 2021. There is no apologies for today's meeting. I'd just like to start with a number of acknowledgements. Firstly, Council acknowledges traditional custodians on the land that we meet here today, both the elders past, present and emerging. We also, as a community, acknowledge those Australians and their families and loved ones, but particularly those Australians that have given the ultimate sacrifice to service for their country, and acknowledge obviously the pain and suffering for their families that were affected as well and continue to be affected. The first item of business today is item B1. It's the confirmation of the minutes. So I now move that the minutes of the ordinary meeting of Council held on the 30th of March 2021 be taken as read and confirmed. Can I have a seconder, please? Seconder is Councillor Haberman. All those in favour? Those against? No. So moved. The first item of normal business is item C1. It's a declaration of material personal interest or conflict of interest. I'll now invite councillors to declare any conflicts of interest in any items to be discussed at today's meeting. Prior to that, and for those that may be seeing this meeting for the first time, with the changes on the Local Government Act, there's an obligation on councillors to report in writing 2 days beforehand the meeting their matters of conflict. Councillors, as for us as a council, we also imply and promote that if there is anything from the councillors on the day that comes forward, to take that opportunity to bring forward any type of conflict or possible material personal interest. And further, what we have done and continue to do is, as councillors, even at the last ebb, if we're going through things in our agendas or reports here today, if something comes up, I just ask everybody to always err on the side of caution in relation to those matters. So first, councillor off the stand today is Councillor Mcphee.
Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Mcphee.
Pursuant to section 150 EQ of the Local Government Act 2009, I wish to inform the meeting that I have a declarable conflict of interest in item T1. The nature of the conflict of interest is the property owners are known to my husband and I. We've spent time socially with them in the past. Having stated this conflict of interest, I am going to leave the room and I won't be voting on the matter.
Thanks, Councillor Mcphee. As Councillor Mcphee has identified the type of conflict and also stated that that the council will be leaving the room, there is no need to vote on the matter. The next I call Councillor Mitchell. Thanks, Councillor Mitchell.
Thank you, Mayor Dempsey. Pursuant to section 150 EQ of the Local Government Act 2009, I wish to inform you that I have a declarable conflict of interest in the matter R1, being extension of term for rent relief Cost Curve Proprietary Limited. The nature of the declarable conflict of interest is that I am acquainted with the owners of another business, the same in nature. I have utilised and intend to continue utilising their services in future if need arises. As a result of my declarable conflict of interest, I intend to leave the meeting while the matter is considered and voted on.
Thank you, Councillor Mitchell. So in relation to item R1, Councillor Mitchell has identified any possible conflicts or material interest and has stated that she'll be leaving the room meeting. As Councillor Mitchell has identified that she'll be leaving the room, there is no need for councillors to vote on the matter. Thanks, Councillor. And Councillor Mitchell, again in relation to another matter.
Thank you. My second declarable conflict of interest pursuant to section 150 EQ of the Local Government Act, I wish to inform you that I have a declarable conflict of interest in the matter T1, request for waiver of waste charges, Lot 1, SP 187551. The nature of the declarable conflict of interest is a previous tenant of the property is known to me and I have visited the property on a couple of occasions. As a result of my declarable conflict of interest, I intend to leave the meeting while the matter is considered and voted on.
Thank you, Councillor Mitchell. As Councillor Mitchell has identified the reasons for the possible material personal interest or conflict of interest and has chose to leave the room for item T1, there is no need to vote on the matter. The next item is Councillor Learmont.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Pursuant to Section 150 EQ of the Local Government Act 2009, I wish to inform the meeting that I have a declarable conflict of interest. The nature of the conflict of interest is in regard to item L1, reconfiguring a lot for subdivision 106 FE Walker Street. This is due to my previous ownership of property that may be affected by this development and also my association with the current owners of the same property. Having stated this conflict of interest, I am going to leave the room and not vote on the matter.
Thank you, Councillor Learmont. So as Councillor Learmont has identified the reason in relation to the declaration for material personal interest or conflict of interest and the reasons why in relation to L1, and has also identified that he'll be leaving the room, there is no need to vote on the matter. I'll just go around the room as we per standard. If there's anything else, Councillor Trevor, Councillor Bartel, Councillor Honour, Councillor Mcphee, Councillor Barnes, Councillor McLaughlin, Councillor Haberman, Councillor Cooper, Councillor Mitchell, and Councillor Learmont, and Councillor Mayor Dempsey. No, I have no identified matters. So now that we can do that, we can move on to the next item of business. It's item E1. It's E1 in relation to Moorpark Beach Master Plan. So I now move that the master plan identified as Moorpark Beach Spaces and Places be endorsed by Council as an approved master plan. Seconded is Councillor Bartel. Councillors, I just, as by way of background, Council, and you'll see on the screen here also beside us, Council engaged Insight SJC to assist in the development of the master plan for a community hub centred around several key facilities within the Moorpark Beach, including the commercial hall, the Surf Lifesaving Club and the holiday park. Community consultation on the master plan has been completed and community feedback has been received on the design. The community consultation included a public presentation, a survey and target engagement with specific groups and council staff. The master plan identified as Moorpark Beach Spaces and Places has been updated to address council and community comments and attachments. Before going to Councillor Bartel, who may wish to comment in relation to this matter, I just want to thank the community, particularly of Moorpark Beach, for their attendance at the consultation processes. I want to thank all the councillors that did attend those consultation phases. I think it was a learning curve for everybody, but it was great to see the amount of people that turned up to be able to put their voice through to the master plan. I also, and that was from the most senior citizens to the most the younger citizens. The engagement with Moorpark Beach School, certainly in the feedback from that, certainly showed that Moorpark Beach had its own identity, which it wanted to take forward, and I just want to thank everybody for their involvement and for their patience as well. And now with the master plan, we can continue to move forward and deliver on those projects. Just before moving to Councillor Bartel, does any other councillor wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No? So Councillor Bartel, did you wish to comment? I know it's been a major...
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to say some positive words and some thank yous, if that's fine. Thank you.
Yes, Councillor.
First of all, I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank everyone that's been involved with the development and formation of this outstanding master plan for Moorpark Beach. As this plan is for the community consultation was key, and there's been much community consultation involved with developing the plan and everyone in the community had the opportunity to contribute their ideas, visions and views, so that the final result will be a creation of an area for Moorpark Beach can be proud of and a draw card for the region. Our staff, Ben and Chris and their teams, and the consultants from inside SJC have listened very well and heard what the community has said they need and want for Moorpark Beach. And I am confident that the community will be happy with what has been proposed in the final draft plan. Thank you, Chris, Ben and inside SJC. You've listened to me, you've listened to the community, and you've delivered what's needed and wanted for Moorpark Beach. You've nailed it. Councillors, I ask you today to support the Moorpark Beach Master Plan and adopt it in its entirety so that we can allocate funding in the upcoming budget deliberations to enable the first stage of this exciting development to commence as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Bartels. Does any other councillor wish to comment in relation to the matter? No? Oh, sorry, Councillor Honour.
Yes, Mr Mayor. From
Yep.
my Parks and Gardens
Yep.
portfolio, I'd just like to congratulate the whole of the council for the involvement in this process. It's one of the major projects that council is looking forward to bringing to life for Moorpark, and I just think that it's a very environmentally conscious project on the part of everybody, and it's going to provide great opportunities into the future. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Honour. I'll now put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? No, so moved. The next items are from the Organisational Services section. Item F1, I call Councillor Cooper.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, and good morning to everybody. The recommendation that the financial summary as at the 1st of April 2021 be noted by the Council.
Can I have a seconder, please? The seconder is Councillor Mcphee. Councillor Cooper, wish to speak further in relation to the motion?
Thank you. In accordance with Section 204 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, a financial report must be presented to Council on a monthly basis. The attached financial report contains a financial summary and associated commentary as at the 1st of April 2021.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Any other councillor wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No? All those in favour? Those against? So moved. Next item is item G1. I call Councillor Cooper.
The recommendation, Mr Mayor, is that the 2020-21 operational plan, quarter 3, be received and noted.
Thank you, Councillor Cooper. Can I have a seconder, please? Seconder is Councillor Mitchell. Councillor Cooper, you should speak further in relation to the motion.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. In accordance with Section 174 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, the Chief Executive Officer must present a written assessment of Council's progress towards implementing the annual operational plan at a meeting held at regular intervals of not more than 3 months. Quarterly reports provide a process for monitoring and assessing Council's progress in meeting the goals of the corporate plan. The attached report highlights the achievements of Council over the past 3 months, with most areas achieving their targets.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Any other councillor wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No? I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? So moved. Next item is G2. I call Councillor Cooper.
Yes, again, the recommendation is that the organisational structure, in brackets, as at the 23rd of April 2021, in the brackets, be adopted by Council.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Can I have a seconder, please? The seconder is Councillor and Deputy Mayor Trevor. Any Councillor Cooper who speak further in relation to the motion?
Thank you. Pursuant to Section 196 of the Local Government Act 2009, Council is required to adopt an organisational structure that is appropriate to the performance of the local government responsibilities.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Does any other councillor wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No? I'll put them now to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? So moved. Next item is item G3, corporate plan. Councillor Cooper.
Yes, Mr Mayor, the recommendation that the Council adopt the corporate plan 2021 to 2026.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Can I have a seconder, please? Seconder is Councillor Bartels. Councillor Cooper, you should speak further in relation to the motion.
Yes, Council recently commenced a review of the corporate plan to allow newly elected councillors to reflect its aspirations for the community, our organisation and the region. A corporate planning workshop was held with Council and the executive leadership team, which led to the changes to the existing corporate plan. The most significant changes include revised game changes and descriptions, core roles and advocacy priorities included, update the regional asset information, removal of capital projects, opening theme updates, descriptions added to the vision of the councils, considering it is best about the community, acknowledge the country included. On the 30th of March 2021, the revised corporate plan was distributed to council employees and advertised on council's website for the community consultation, where the submissions were encouraging. Council received 1 public submission and 4 submissions from council staff. The feedback was considered with some minor changes applied to the plan.
Thank you, Councillor Cooper. Any other councillor wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No. I'll put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? So moved. Next item is item G4, sale of a number of lots. I'll call Councillor Cooper.
There's a recommendation that 1, Council apply the exceptions contained in section 236 in brackets 1, in brackets A, in brackets I of the Local Government Regulation 2021 in brackets Queensland to the disposal of lots 57, 59, 60, 65, 66, 67, 78, 79 on SP 227071 and the Chief Executive Officer be authorised to enter into contracts of sale with the buyers and attend to all items required to finalise the sale of these properties.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Have a seconder, please. It's Councillor Haberman. Councillor Cooper, do you want to speak in relation to the motion?
Yes, Mr Mayor, as this has been an ongoing sale of these properties, no need for much explanation other than that it's stage 2 of Concurrent Waters at Woodgate Properties, and the council has received offers to purchase the properties from the individual buyers via local real estate agents. The offers to purchase the properties presented by the buyers are to council and to market value.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Any other councillor wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No. All those in favour? Those against? No. So moved. Next item of business, specialist supplier, item H1. I call Councillor Trevor.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I move that Council enter into an arrangement with Schindler Lifts Australia for the provision of the Childers Palace Backpackers Memorial lift maintenance without first seeking competitive quotations or tenders pursuant to section 235B of the Local Government Regulation 2012, and B, this arrangement be made for an initial period from the 1st of January 2021 to the 31st of December 2025.
Thanks, Councillor Trevor. Can I have a seconder, please? Seconder is Councillor Honour. Councillor Trevor used to speak further in relation to the motion.
Just very shortly, Mr Mayor, Schindler Lifts Australia has an existing fixed-term contract with Council for maintenance of the lift in the Childers Palace Backpacker Memorial. The current contract has 3 years to run. There is an opportunity for Council to renegotiate the contract with Schindler Lifts Australia to improve the pricing. Going to the open market would be a breach of the terms of the current contract. Renegotiating the contract with the existing supplier maintains the term of the contract. Engaging with Schindler Lifts Australia to negotiate a new contract pricing conditions prior to the completion of the current contract will deliver significant savings over the remainder of the term.
Thanks, Councillor Trevor. Any other councillor wish to raise any queries or speak against the matter? No. I'll put that matter to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? So moved. The next item is item L1. Councillor Lehmann has identified that he'll be vacating the meeting. Wait. Thanks, Councillor Lehmann. Item L1 is a reconfiguration of reconfiguring a lot of subdivision in relation to 106 Effie Walker Street, Kepnock. So I now move that the development application 521.2020.182.1 be approved with conditions as detailed in the meeting agenda. Can I have a seconder, please? Seconder is Councillor Bartels. Before going further, I would just ask the CEO to make comments and give a brief outline of the matter that is before Council here today, please.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The application before Council today is to reconfigure an existing parcel of land into 2 lots. The applicant says that the reconfiguration is to facilitate a previously approved development of a district shopping centre, as approved by Council back in November 16. And as you said, it's recommended for approval with appropriate conditions.
Thanks, Mr CEO. Is any other councillors wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No. I'll put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? No. So moved. We'll just wait for Councillor Learmont to return to the room. Thanks, Councillor Learmont. Next item is item 01. I call Councillor Mcphee.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move that Council provide financial support under the Council's Partnership and Sponsorships Grants Program to Lifelight Foundation Limited, ABN 63618170 to assist with operational costs in the 2020-2021 financial year in the sum of $50,000 plus GST where applicable.
Thanks, Councillor Mcphee. Can I have a seconder, please? Second is Councillor Haberman. Councillor Mcphee, do you wish to speak further in relation to this motion?
Thank you. This request comes under the Partnership and Sponsorships Grant Program. Lifelight Foundation Limited is seeking Council's continued support of its operations in our region. They're seeking financial assistance of $50,000 for this current financial year, and the funds will assist with the operational costs of the local service. In 2020, Lifelight helped more than 291 Bundaberg patients. The foundation provides a critical service to both residents and visitors to the Bundaberg area. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mcphee. Does any other councillor wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No. All those in favour? Those against? No. So moved. The next item is 02. I call Councillor Cooper.
Yes, thanks, Mr Mayor. Council apply the exception contained in section 236 in brackets 1 and section in brackets B and in brackets 2 of the local government regulation. The Chief Executive Officer be authorised to enter into a lease with Burnett Mary Regional Group for the Natural Resources Management Limited for part of the Bagara Administration Centre, known as Lot 2 on SP 314446.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Can I have a seconder, please? The second is Councillor Mcphee. Councillor Cooper used to speak further in relation to the motion.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. The council is the owner of the freehold property Lot 2 on SP 314446, known as 160 Hughes Road, Bagara. This is an extension of the lease area for the Burnett Mary Regional Group, and I would recommend that be accepted.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Any other councillor wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No. I'll put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? Nil. So moved. The next item is 03. I call Councillor Haberman.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The recommendation is that Council apply the exception contained in section 236(1)(b)(2) of the Local Government Regulation 2012 Queensland, and 2, the Chief Executive Officer be authorised to enter into a release with the Burnett Heads Progress and Sports Association Inc. for part of Lot 9 on CK 3658 for a term of 10 years.
Thanks, Councillor Hammerman. Seconded, Councillor McLaughlin. Councillor Hammerman will speak further in relation to the motion.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The background to this one, so Lot 9 on CK CP 3658 is state-owned reserve for recreation, which Council is trustee at 19 Zunker Street, Burnett Heads, known as Jack Norgate Oval property. Council entered into a lease for part of the property with Burnett Heads Progress and Sports Association Inc. commencing on the 1st of July 2011. The lease is due to expire on the 30th of June 2021 and the association would like to renew the lease for a further 10-year term. Rent will be at the community group rate and it is proposed that the remaining terms of the lease will be on Council's standard lease. Council proposes to apply the exception to the tender auction requirements contained in section 236(1)(b)(2) of the Local Government Regulation 2012 Queensland, given that the disposal is to a community organisation.
Thanks, Councillor Hammerman. Any other councillors wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No. I'll put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? No. So moved. Next item is item 04. I call Councillor Barnes.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Morning, councillors. Council is the freehold owner of Lot 35 on SP 254546, previously known as Lot 102 on SP 219167 at 3 Avro Avenue, Kensington.
Councillor Barnes, sorry.
Oh, sorry, just move the motion.
Yeah, no, that's all right. We've all done it.
Sorry. I move that Council apply the extension contained in section 2361C3 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, and 2, the Chief Executive Officer be authorised to enter into a 5-year lease with a 5-year option to Bittern Holdings Proprietary Limited, ACN 124-273-856 as trustee for aviation hangar site Bravo Echo, located on Lot 35 on SP 254546 at Bundaberg Regional Airport.
Thanks, Councillor Barnes. Our seconder is Councillor Haberman. Is Councillor Barnes over to you in relation to speaking on the motion?
Thank you. I move to the second paragraph. Bittern Holding Proprietary Limited as trustee entered into a lease with Council for the aviation hangar site Bravo Echo, commencing on the 1st of August 2007 and expiring on the 1st of July 2017, with an additional 10-year option or a lease. The option was not exercised and the lease has continued to operate on the holding over provision. The lessee wishes to enter into a new lease commencing on the 1st of March 2021 for an initial term of 5 years with a further 5-year option. The rent is for market value and is subject to an annual rent increase of 3%. The lessee is also responsible for 100% of outgoings. It is proposed that the remaining terms of the lease will be on Council's standard lease. Council proposes to apply the exception to the tender or auction requirements contained in section 2361C3 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, given that the disposal is for the purposes of renewing the lease of land to an existing tenant of the land.
Thanks, Councillor Barnes. Any other councillors wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No. I'll now put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? No. So moved. The next item of business is item 05. I call Councillor Cooper.
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. The recommendation that 1, Council apply the exception contained in section 236 in brackets 1, in brackets B, in brackets I of the Local Government Regulation 2012, and 2, that the Chief Executive Officer be authorised to enter into a 10-year lease to the State of Queensland, in brackets represented by the Public Safety Business Agency, in the brackets for Lot 11 on CP CK 3658.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Can I have a seconder, please? The second is Councillor Trevor. Councillor Cooper should speak further in relation to the matter.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. This is a renewal on Lot 11 on CP CK 3658, known as 13 Brewer Street, Burnett Heads, is the state-owned reserve for local government with a sub-purpose of State Emergency Centre, which the Council is the trustee. The State of Queensland, in brackets represented by the Public Safety Business Agency, and the brackets known as the Burnett Heads Rural Fire Brigade, in brackets again the Rural Fire Brigade, in the brackets, which is to enter into the lease for the property. The new lease will be for a term of 10 years. It is the purpose that the remaining terms of the lease will be on the council standard lease. Council proposed to apply the exception to the tender auction requirement contained in section 236 in brackets 1 in brackets B in brackets I of the Local Government Regulation 2012 in brackets Queensland, given that the disposal is for the purpose of the government agency.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Does any other councillor wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No? All those in favour? Those against? So moved. The next item of business is from the Waste and Recycling section. It's item P1. I call Councillor McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The recommendation is that pursuant to section 235B of the Local Government Regulation 2012, Council enter into an arrangement with ATC Williams Proprietary Limited for the provision of Northern Geometric Model and Planes update for Quinaba Landfill without first inviting written quotes.
Thank you, Councillor McLaughlin. Can I have a seconder, please? Seconder is Councillor Honour. Councillor McLaughlin, you wish to speak further in relation to the motion?
Yes, thank you. ATC Williams Proprietary Limited were engaged by Council in 2019 to provide landfill plans and models for all of Council's landfills. Landfill plans are required under Council's Environmental Licence EPPR 002384113 for all active landfills showing the height, fill process and contour drainage across sites. In late 2020, Waste and Recycling began the FIDO-CAP trial at Quinaba Landfill, which has altered the heights on the northern boundary of the site. As Council plans to progress with a FIDO-CAP on this site, it will change the height across the entire northern boundary by approximately 1 metre. As a result, the landfill plans need to be amended to reflect these changes. As the previous consultants have already provided the base plans and have all the survey data on file, there are efficiencies and cost-saving measures by continuing to engage with the same provider. Therefore, Council officers suggest engaging ATC Williams Proprietary Limited to complete the updated plans without having to go to market to get additional quotes.
Thanks, Councillor McLaughlin. Any other councillor wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No. I'll now put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? No. So moved. Next item is item R1. I called, before doing that, Councillor Mitchell has advised that she'll be leaving the meeting. As Councillor Mitchell has now vacated the meeting, I now, in relation to item R1, I call Councillor Cooper.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. The recommendation is the term for the rent relief for Cost Curve Proprietary Limited, 157 Bourbon Street, Bundaberg Central, be extended for a further 6 months until the 31st of March 2021.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Seconder, Councillor Haberman. Councillor Cooper is to speak further in relation to the motion.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. As part of its response to COVID-19, Council granted a rent-free period to commercial tenants. The initial rent-free period ended on the 30th of September 2020. Commercial tenants, Cost Curve Proprietary Limited has written to request a further 6 months rent relief, being for the period 1st of October 2020 to the 31st of March 2021 for the property at 157 Bourbon Street, Bundaberg Central. The business is receiving JobKeeper Extension 1 and 2 and has suffered downturns of 92% for the September 2020 quarter and 63% for December 2020 quarter. The business is an affected lease under the Rental Shop Lease and Other Commercial Leases Regulation 2020.
Thanks, Councillor Cooper. Any other councillors wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No. I'll now put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? Nil, so moved. Just wait till Councillor Mitchell returns to the meeting. Thanks, Councillor Mitchell. His next item is item S1. I call Councillor Barnes.
Councillors, I'd like to move that Council grant a waiver of lease rental payment for the airport cafe operator, WZ Management, for the month of April 2021, whilst the cafe remains closed and the operator develops a new business structure.
Thanks, Councillor Mack. The seconder is Councillor Honour. Councillor Barnes, will you speak further in relation to the motion?
Thank you. As part of its initial response to COVID-19, Council granted a rent-free period to the airport's cafe operator. The initial rent-free period ended on the 30th of September 2020. Subsequently, Council voted to extend the rent-free period until 31st of December 2020, and a further 50% discount on rent was agreed by Council for the first 3 months of 2021. The cafe operator, WZ Management, has written to state that it is unable to continue operating as before, following the end of JobKeeper and in the face of continuing limited numbers of passengers flowing through the airport. The cafe has remained closed since the 31st of March. WZ Management has asked Council to waive these lease payments for a short period while the cafe remains closed, pending to proposal for a new business structure to be presented to Council by WZ Management during April 2021. The monthly rental is $1,921.88. It is therefore suggested that Council considering offering WZ Management a rental waiver for April 2021.
Thanks, Councillor Barnes. Any other councillors wish to raise any queries or speak against the motion? No. I'll now put the matter to vote. All those in favour? Those against? So moved. The next item is actually in the confidential items. So it's pursuant to section 275 of the local government regulations. So I now move in relation to item 2 that the meeting be closed to the public pursuant to section 275 of the local government regulation 2012 to discuss the confidential item. Can I have a seconder, please? The seconder is Councillor Mcphee. All those in favour? Those against? Nil. So moved. I now ask those in the gallery to please leave the meeting room and we will temporarily suspend the live stream. I'll invite you back shortly. Thank you for your patience in relation to this matter. Also So we now got the live stream back on? Yep. Thanks, Lockie. Yep, except for the councillors. Yep. So thank you for everybody returning, both live stream and in the gallery. I also want to note as per record that Councillors Mcphee and Councillor Mitchell will remain out of the meeting room until this matter is finalised. So item T1, so I now move that the council provide a further reduction of $1,099.99 to waste collection charges on the property known as Lot 1 on SP 187551. Can I have a seconder, please? Seconder is Councillor McLaughlin. I'll now put the matter to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? No, so moved. We'll now wait till Councillors McLaughlin Councillors McPhee and Mitchell return to the meeting. Thank you, Councillor McPhee and Councillor Mitchell, for returning to the meeting. This brings to conclusion the business of today's meeting. Next ordinary meeting is due to be held on the 25th of May 2021 in Council Chambers here in Bundaberg. I now close the meeting at, what time have you got? 10:46, and I just thank everybody, both in person and online, for their attendance here today. Thank you very much.